Pascal is showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased, but now she's asking, why is that still there? Pascal explains that he hired a security goat to protect the data shed. The boss is not so pleased anymore. If you haven't upgraded to cloud storage yet, it's time to get business done better with MTN Business.
Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by our number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nondumiso Vilagati alongside Izaman Zimanze, and here are your top stories.
His Majesty King Mswati III has launched the Eswatini National Youth Empowerment Program. Acting Prime Minister says the violence and arson attacks seen in the country emanate from last year's unrest. The Minister for Information, Communication and Technology has thanked Parliament and other stakeholders who contributed to her ministry completing 6 bills.
The news. His Majesty King Mswati III has launched the Eswatini National Youth Empowerment Program that has been developed by the United Nations Development Program in partnership with government. The program is a direct outcome of engagements between His Majesty the King and the UNDP Regional Director for Africa, Ahana Eziakonwa. The United Nations resident coordinator in the country, George Wachira, represented the United Nations at the launch.
The Youth Empowerment Program that was launched by His Majesty the King supports young people between 18 to 35 years old to gain work experience, skills, and access to jobs. It addresses issues that confront the youth through 5 pillars, which are the graduate placement and mentorship, which offers internship opportunities in government and private sector institutions to 500 graduates over a 6 to 12-month period, and the artisanal skills training and mentorship, which targets 500 non-graduate or out-of-school youth and trains them with basic and in-demand skills, business development and mentorship, and startup packs and business training to support self-employment. There will be a Sustainable Energy Academy that will select 100 candidates in its first year, half of which will be women from the 4 regions of the country, to equip them with skills to design, install, and maintain renewable energy systems. A technology hub will be established to provide computer programming skills, including science, technology, and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, while the Entrepreneurship Support Program pillar focuses on improving business leadership, governance, and management to increase access to finance for youth-led businesses through a 12-week vigorous business training program, business plan, and extended mentorship. His Majesty the King says the country is pinning hopes on the program to reduce youth unemployment and to improve the standard of living among young people.
Partnerishe sihlangane nebaka-UN ukuthi sibuke ukuthi labasha bangatholakala basitakale kanjani iyakhulu ngemva kwesikhathi se-COVID ngoba kubonakalisile ukuthi labanye nje labasha babe affected basinzekile kakhulu kanti kungakafiki khona lapho kwakhanya ukuthi vele labasha labanyenti bebavele batsinzekile bangawathole amathuba ekuphakamisa imisebenzi na ngisemhlanganweni la khona bekune baka UN DP bekuna director for Africa le emhlanganweni lesakhuluma naye bakhuluma ngokuthi beseTunisia bakhuluma ukuthi bangasibambisa kakhulu esigabeni sekutheni sibukele le program ukuthi live leSwatini lingayi ngenisa kanjani iprogram lengakhona kusita labasha ekutheni labasha babe nelikusasa lelihle ngoba labasha labanyenti ukhanza ukuthi noma sebacethile esikolweni ukhanza bangawathola amathuba ukuthi babonakale bavele bathola imisebenzi namuhla asithule lo msebenzi lona wale Eswatini Youth Empowerment ekutheni ukuthi uthulwe live lonke litosekela sitobona ukuthi labasha singaqhubeka kanjani kubabambisa nekuthi babe nelikusasa lelihle.
The United Nations Resident Coordinator George Wachira attributed the development of this trailblazing program to His Majesty's strong belief to empower the youth.
Your Majesty, today we are here because of a shared commitment to the young people of this country. We are here in response to your address at the United Nations General Assembly in September, in which you called for the creation, and I quote, of opportunities for our youth to address the issues of unemployment and poverty, end of quotes. As we present the proposed program, or as we launch the proposed program on youth empowerment led by UNDP, we are here to affirm our continued commitment to work with Your Majesty's government to achieve the development vision of the kingdom. We are here to affirm that our relatively small population is indeed an advantage and offers us the opportunity to ensure that every young person in the country is gainfully engaged and contributing positively to their own development and that of the kingdom.
The program is a timely intervention that will address pressing challenges that limit the youth, which comprise of over 70% of the population of the country. His Majesty the King has instructed government to fully endorse the program as a national endeavor. At Lozita Palace, I am Sandile Makanya for Eswatini TV.
Minister of Information, Communications and Technology, Her Royal Highness Princess Sikhanyiso, has thanked Parliament and other stakeholders who contributed to her ministry completing 6 bills. The minister says these legislations will improve the ICT sector. The minister said this in Senate after the passing of the 2 bills.
On Friday, Senate sat and deliberated on many issues, including the passing of 2 bills. The first was the Eswatini National Research Council Bill of 2020, which will regulate research-related issues. The bill was passed and the Minister of ICT, Her Royal Highness Princess Sikhanyiso, expressed her appreciation.
Umsebenzi wehhovisi lakho wekuqhutela ukuthi tonke timbonga tibe khona nakusetshenzwa lelisekela lakho belihlale likhona litosekela sihlalo limbambise lehhovisi lengcweti yetemthetho lelisibambisile nemaswati onke labe ekhathi sikufaka sandla kulombhukutfu lotawujatshulelwa ngemaswati emaswati lathakasela telicwaningo netekwepesha.
The second bill was the National Archives and Records Service Bill of 2020, which also passed.
Sibonga kakhulu timbonga lehloniphekile phela umthetho ungumthombo usisekelo selive lena kusasa bonke batawubuka kuwo ufana nelibhayibheli nje kumile kusevele tabanjalo mengameli siyabonga kakhulu.
The 2 bills will now await royal assent before being passed into law. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Skumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
Acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku says the violence and arson attacks in the country emanate from last year's unrest. Masuku says it would be difficult to have a national dialogue at the moment because the safety of those who speak will not be guaranteed. Masuku has said this in Senate during a debate on what government is doing about the violence in the country.
Senators have spoken against the ongoing arson attacks and killings of people in the country and said this should come to an end.
Labantu labagila letika bakwenta ebusuku bangabona bashaya ihlombe nyalo besemlinzelweni isikhala kusesifelo kunjani njani kepha wabasitisa lokuthi babowati ukuthi uNkulunkulu longalali uyabona
Kuyakusita ngani ukungibulala uyasuyakuthola into lokufunaka uma songibulele na qiniso lithi ngeke lokuyawenteka sekuyoba i-carrying decimal abantu abambowathi ukuthi sinjenjenje babo wabulawa ngimbunga moyimoyi.
I do trust that there are no governments that are supporting violence in our land. I do hope and I do trust there are no governments at all that are supporting violence in our land in the name of NGOs or sponsoring those that are saying they want democracy in the land.
Acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku responded to the House.
lento yaphunyuka ayiphinzi biyele emuva phela siseparlamente neSomalia uyambekisa njengayo yathi inkosi Sobhuza imibuso yeAfrika kunemibuso ya mgico yedlankwele nalamhla lokho kwacala kancane kungako ke ngivumelana nekuthi kufuneka sikhone ukubamba mhlambe kusangaphunyuki sibambe ngemsila sikubuyise sitokhona ukuthi bantu abethu balikhanze isitukulwane silikhanze lelive.
The House has asked for calm and for all eMaswati to act responsibly. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Skumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
Minister of Tinkhundla Administration and Development David Ngamphalala says promoting Tinkhundla system should be on everyone, including all government ministries. The minister has also asked Senate to help his ministry get an improved budget allocation so as to decentralize government services. Ngamphalala has said this in Senate when responding to questions on what his ministry is doing to improve the system.
Senators have voiced out their concern about the Tinkhundla system not operating the way it should be.
Kufuna ngabe umhlaba uta Eswatini utobuka indlela utofunza indlela longakhanza kokuthi na indlela longathi bantu bagatselive uma ufunza letimphendvulo tendvuna uyabona lo ukuthi konke lesikhala ngako ukuphendvula ngale bill le decentralization bill kune ukukhuluma lokufanele singabe siyakwenta ngecurriculum ngeke usukele chifu lwafunza kalavundla mantu uthi utamfundzisa tintfo letinsha lamuhla ate ukwenta lokhu uphumelele nakancane kufuneka lugotshwe lusemanti.
Minister of Tinkhundla Administration and Development David Ngamphalala says this is a burden for everyone.
Le system yethu yetinkhundla yethu sonke singemaswati mangumlalelisa kahle abala ukukhuluma uthi thina ngale system yethu asesifunde kwengeja.
The minister then withdrew the report on this matter, which he had tabled on Wednesday, and he is expected to table a more detailed report in 14 days. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Skumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
The National Emergency Response Council on HIV and AIDS has stated that 728 people lost their lives due to HIV and AIDS in the Hoho region last year, and 596 new infections were recorded. These numbers were shared during the commemoration of the World AIDS Day in the Hoho region at Prince of Wales in Mbabane, where the Minister of Culture and Youth Affairs, Harris Bulunga, emphasized the importance of all sectors getting enough information on HIV and AIDS.
The Minister of Culture and Youth Affairs, Harris Bulunga, says every sector of society has to be given enough information on HIV and AIDS.
As we center the HIV response in communities, let us not forget the plight of city dwellers, permanent residents, and those in the peripherals of our urban areas. As we aim to equalize, let us ensure HIV service inclusion is for both the urban and rural response to HIV and AIDS.
UNAIDS Country Director Ross Craig says stigma against people living with HIV and AIDS still exists.
Let us not be the ones that are perpetuating stigma and discrimination against key populations. And secondly, let us make a pledge against gender-based violence. Whether you are the one who is perpetuating it or whether it is your neighbor, you have a role to play.
Nature has promised to reach all sectors of society, more especially key populations. For Eswatini TV News, Nelisiwe Ndlangamandla with Themba Shabangu Mbabane.
The Ministry of Economic Planning and Development had a consultative meeting with Lubombo traditional leaders at Stegi Hotel about the revised national population policy. Nombulelo Dlamini, the acting director for population, says the national population policy seeks to improve the livelihoods of Amaswati and the economy of the country.
On Friday, the Ministry of Economic Planning and Development had a consultative meeting with Lubombo region chiefs about the national population policy. The policy aims to address inequalities in access to social services and indifferent on population growth, amongst other things. The Lubombo region chiefs and the chiefdom representatives also got a chance to comment on the national population policy.
Bathuthukile ngibona ngoba phela umuntu umthuthukisa ngalona baphuma abantwana batenda khona la yabakhutha lawo bantwana nendala nibuye esikolweni aphendule lo msikati umntwana aphendula lo muntu uyahawukela yini bayayifuna imbona ngiluthuko nabantu labasha.
The Lubombo region has more than 200,000 people. Reporting, I am Tembelihle Makuchwa at Stegi.
The Ministry of Health has brought together religious leaders to look into issues of health and the role of religious leaders have to play in curbing diseases. The Health Promotion Manager in the Ministry of Health, Bongiwe Dlamini, says regional leaders assisted the ministry during the COVID-19 pandemic. Dlamini was speaking during a sensitization meeting with leaders held in Matsapa.
The Ministry of Health, in partnership with UNICEF, conducted a sensitization session with religious leaders across the country. The ministry's health promotion manager, Bongiwe Dlamini, says the ministry is looking to rope in sectors in the fight against diseases. Dlamini says religious leaders had a positive impact during the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Dlamini says the meeting seeks to remind religious leaders of their role, especially because they have a chance to educate throngs of people.
Sibabonile ngesikhathi se-HIV bayithethe inzima yabo bayidlala kwabonakala nabo bafakile isandla lesibonakalako ekwehleni kwekuthelelana kwayo i-HIV ngakuthi bafundisa ngakuthi singadivikela kanjani nakhona nje ukuthi mabe umfasanayo kwi-HIV asheshe akhone kwakuthi awathathe emaphilisi ema-ARVs. Ngakho-ke sibabonile ukuthi-ke no vele kumelekile siqhubeke nabo kulo mshikashika wetinzabadedempilo.
Reverend Dixon Makunda, representing the religious leaders, says a human being needs to be assisted holistically to ensure that they are spiritually and physically healthy.
As we work, lapho sikhona khona, simele le understanding ukuthi lo muntu esimconzile ukumsida, he operates in different areas. Kufanele sireach kulo muntu holistically. And therefore, kusebenzisa nabaka health, basivulela amehlo, sitokona ukuthi sinaleli vangeli lesishumayelako. Singalishumayela simasulumani, singashumayela abakashembe, kepha lo muntu lekusikhuluma kuye, kufanele ukuthi aphile holistically.
One of the issues was also to remind religious leaders of the safety precautions that needs to be adhered to during the holiday services. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Matapa.
MTN Foundation has donated 150,000 Amalangeni to business women Eswatini youth program. Speaking during the donation at Eswatini, the chairperson Busisiwe Simelane says it is important to support women and girls, especially as the economic climate is not favorable.
Speaking during the donation of 150,000 emalangeni to Vugani Bomage Youth Program, the chairperson of the MTN Foundation, Busisiwe Simelane, says collaboration between different sectors is important to create job opportunities.
I cannot overemphasize the social impact that this gathering here is making. I cannot overemphasize the shift that such partnerships are doing in society.
The Chief Executive Officer of Business Eswatini, Nathi Dlamini, expresses his gratitude.
The youth out there, the frustration that's playing out there requires organizations such as yourselves to say, this time I'm not playing, I'm nailing my colors to the mast.
The committee member of Business Women Eswatini, Carol Ngobo, says the money will be used for the intended purpose.
The continuous partnership, I pray that it goes beyond this, our organization. It goes beyond just BE, Business Women, and Vugani Bomage. There are other projects that are still going to come that are going to be focusing on the youth.
The MTN Foundation has promised to continue supporting different sectors of society. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla with Themba Shabangu Mbabane.
For our international news, the President of the United States of America has announced $150 million that will help African countries to adapt to climate change under the President's Adaptation and Resilience Plan. Biden was addressing COP27 summit in Egypt this evening.
My commitment to this issue has been unwavering. Today, finally, thanks to the actions we've taken, I can stand here as President of the United States of America and say with confidence, the United States of America will meet our emissions targets by 2030. We're racing forward to do our part to avert the climate hell that the UN Secretary General so passionately warned about earlier this week. We're not ignoring harbingers that are already here. It's true, so many disasters, climate crisis is hitting hardest those countries and communities that have the fewest resources to respond and to recover. And that's why last year I committed to work with our Congress to quadruple U.S. support to climate finance and provide $11 billion annually by 2024, including $3 billion for adaptation. That's why the Fund Emergency Plan for Adaptation and Resilience, PREPARE we call it, to help more than 500 million people in developing countries respond to climate change.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates. Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV, and for sports news tonight, Eswatini Special Olympics Organization says one of the main priorities of the organization is to provide a competitive sporting environment for people living with mental disability by ensuring that they participate in sports. The organization revealed this when conducting a rope skipping competition that involved 6 schools. The competition was attended by 60 athletes at the Olympia Africa Lobamba.
Eswatini Special Olympics conducted a rope skipping competition that involved 6 athletes from 6 schools in the country. The competition aims at assisting people living with mental disability to be able to excel in sports by welcoming them to the rest of the community. Eswatini Special Olympics Sports Director Ntsiselelo Skwane says they will keep on hosting similar competition in the near future.
The kids are looking forward to many more competitions that we are going to have. Our next competition is going to be a rope skipping competition, which is going to be on the 1st of December, which is going to be our last competition of the year. We are hoping next year we are going to have more and more competitions for our kids to make sure that they feel accepted in the country and in the world with their special intellectuality.
Rope skipping as a sport is under Eswatini Gymnastics Federation. The federation is willing to work hand in hand with the Special Olympics organization for the benefit of the sports in the country. For Eswatini TV Sports, Wabisum Sunera, pictures sourced from the Special Olympics organization.
The Eswatini Cycling Association President Zwide Nxumalo says MTN Keman Classic Road Race is now becoming a tourist attraction in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Nxumalo says the race also provides a high level of competition to local cyclists when they compete against their international counterparts. This year's edition will be the 9th since the first edition and will be held this coming Sunday at Mangayane.
With the international cyclists coming in, to partake in the race, they will be using our hotels, they will be using some of the entertainment establishments that we have, some of the leisure activities that we have. They will be exploring that, and with the good experience that we expect them to have in those areas, we are hopeful and counting on them to actually be going back to sell the country as a whole, not just as a cycling country, but as a country that anyone can come visit and actually enjoy a lot of other leisure activities aside from cycling. Of course, we still want them to come and cycle in the country whenever they are here. But I'm happy to see that even this year we have been able to attract a number of foreign or nationals who will be coming in to basically give us a run for our money as locals, but also the local cycling community has also been actively registering for the race and putting themselves on the line to say we are going to defend our honor as a country and we're going to make sure that we are representing ourselves well and participating in the race because of the role that it plays just in the socio-economic space. Because one of the benefits of this race is one of the beneficiaries of the race is the Mangayane community through the neighborhood care points and also the Mangayane government hospital, who have continued to benefit over the years through food parcels, through medical supplies that are donated to those establishments by the MTN Kemani.
As we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. His Majesty King Mswati III has launched the Eswatini National Youth Empowerment Program. Acting Prime Minister says the violence and arson attacks seen in the country emanate from last year's unrest. The Minister for Information, Communication and Technology has thanked Parliament and other stakeholders who contributed to her ministry completing 6 bills. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.